This episode is brought to you by Sock Club.
Valentine's Day is next week, and Sock Club is delivering the perfect gift. Let's all remind our special someone that they are loved from head to toe with quality American-made socks.
The socks are sent straight to your loved one's door, featuring different designs and a personal note.
With quality American-made socks.
The socks are sent straight to your loved one's door, featuring different designs and a personal note.
With quality American-made socks.
The socks are sent straight to your loved one's door, featuring different designs and a personal note. Personal note every month.
And because it's Valentine's Day, Sock Club has an offer that you're going to fall in love with.
They are offering our listeners 15% off when you use promo code GARAGE at checkout.
Give a little reminder of your love. Give Sock Club every month. Go to sockclub.com and get 15% off using discount code GARAGE at checkout.
That's sockclub.com, promo code GARAGE.
It's dying! Except for the mushroom.
Welcome to True Crime Garage. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Nick, and with me is a man that recently blew a 20-point lead in his ping pong match. He is here, ladies and gentlemen, to remind us that second place is the first loser. He is the captain.
All I know is I got 5 rings now. Where's your rings, Cleveland?
What happened to you, Captain? That ping pong match, you really fell apart there.
Yeah, I have bad knees.
Today we are drinking Fuzzy Baby Ducks IPA by New England Brewing Company. Garage grade, 4.5 bottle caps out of 5. This is a fantastic citrus single hop IPA, one of Connecticut's finest beers by one of their finest brewers. Fuzzy Ducks was brought to us by some of our warm and fuzzy friends. First, we have Josh from Ontario, Canada.
Next up, we have Chelsea from Alabama.
Yeah, Chelsea says Alabama loves y'all. Chelsea recommends that we check out the Good People Brewing Company, especially their El Gordo Imperial Stout.
Mm-hmm.
That was my nickname in high school, Captain.
I
was El Gordo.
You should use that name for the show.
Let's go to Fort Worth, Texas, and say hi and thank you to Matthew. Next, we have Gianna, who says, I love the show and would love to hear some Michigan true crime. Well, we did cover the Oakland County child killer case. Of course, that was episode 28. And like all of our older episodes, that one is available in the iTunes store and on our website.
Thanks. And from Vernon, Connecticut, we have Michael. Big shout out to Michael.
From Parts Unknown, we have Alexandra. Thank you, Alexandra. Also in Parts Unknown, we have we have Marzon, who says, hi guys, I listen while driving on my 50 states tour, and thank you for making my drive much more enjoyable. Marzon, make sure that you use a boat or a plane for the Hawaii portion of your trip.
And from Springfield, Missouri, we have a big beer shout out to Julie.
Julie says, keep on rocking in the free world. Well, thank you, Julie. And last but not least, we have Nay from Echo Park, California, who says, thank you guys for putting out an entertaining and informative pod. Grab some sticky monkey from Firestone Walker Brewery.
I will not grab this sticky monkey.
So thank you all for pitching in this week's beer fund. And if you want to kick it in for next week, go to truecrimegarage.com and click on the donate button.
Yeah, you can just take your hand off the stingy monkey and then click on the donate button. And like always, we like your cheap.
That's enough of the business. Everybody gather around, grab a chair, grab a beer, and let's talk some true crime.
school shooting in U.S. history, at least 27 dead, 20 children, 7 adults, including the principal. And the gunman killed himself. And all over this town, in churches like the United Methodist Church behind us, well, the lights are on and they are still open for prayer tonight.
It will be all night. People have been gathering here for prayer, to lean on each other and lean on a belief in something bigger than themselves, to help get through what is just impossible to believe here or anywhere else. The sentiment here echoed in what you're seeing now down by the Washington Monument in D.C. Many members of the Connecticut delegation was there, but this story is really about their home here, Newtown, Connecticut, just 27,000 people. This is a place where people know each other, families know each other. And what happened today is known to all. And it's not just about how many were lost, it's about the age. What is hitting everyone so hard is the reality of these being children that were targeted by a madman. We now know his name. We know he's 20 years old, Adam Lanza. We know that before he came to this school, he shot his own mother, Nancy, in the face, killing her at her home. The looming question is why this man that decided to come to this school. He shows up at a place making gingerbread houses in preparation for the holidays and Christmas presents. Just kids. A man in black enters with a vest and multiple weapons and begins a massacre.
School shooting in history, but if you ask people my age, that's the first school massacre of their 20s. These stories are becoming a common occurrence. We won't say that now, but we are becoming a little numb to these horrible events. We send them off hoping that they will learn something to make us proud, but these days we kiss our kids and we hope they'll come back. Once we shake off the shock and try to comprehend these tragic stories, we must know why. We seek out to answer every question one can think of, but even after we've done so, we are still confused. We have to blame someone. That part is easy, as usually the guilty party is found close to his victims with a bullet in his head. But that's just not enough. That's not good enough, because kids are not supposed to die, parents are not supposed to bury their children, and children and young end lives, ruin families, destroy communities, and break the hearts of the nation. Why do these things happen? Is the problem our gun control laws? Is the problem mind-altering pharmaceuticals that treat our troubled youth? Or is it the boys? We simply may never know. But we're not going to stop asking why. We're not going to stop looking into these events to prevent them from happening again.
Yeah, I believe most people our age, maybe a little younger, the times of high school or middle school, elementary school, being a place of safety, a place of education, a place of where you had so many first experiences, maybe your first best friend, your first girlfriend, your first kiss, who knows what it was. Schools were a place of safety, a place that you would reminisce on once you left school, you know, the glory days. And now schools, when you see a school spread, you don't think, oh, something positive. You immediately assume, oh no, another school. We're seeing
left saying, okay, next week is Sandy Hook. We're very quickly thrown into the mix when we dive into the it's so difficult to research. At the end of the day, this story is about, not about the monster that carried out this crime, but about
we might be able to see what some of the causes were, and then us on the outer alert so we can prevent tragedies like this happening again at another school near us. But it also is a reminder that life is short and life is precious, and while we're here on earth, that maybe we should have more respect for each other and more love for each other.
San Diego Elementary School is in the town of Newtown, Connecticut. When he is 5 years old, he is diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism with significant difficulties in the realm of social interaction. Shortly after that, he is diagnosed with sensory processing disorder. This affects the body's sensory signals. The SPD Center describes this as signals that are not organized into appropriate responses, creating a neurological traffic jam that prevents certain parts of the brain. No, he never seemed to speak much or to try to make friends. He just never seemed interested in making friends. Much of a relationship with anyone in the lands of home other than his mother. Nancy was very much a when it came to Adam. Nancy built a bond through talking. Adam was very young. She was his first gun when he was 4 years old. For target shooting and an interest in firearms. Because of Adam's disorders, Nancy was overly concerned that Adam would become the target of bullies. Adam's peers would often describe Adam as picked on occasionally, but really for the most part, Adam was really wasn't bullied. He was just kind of ignored.
With Adam's SPD, his anxiety grew a lot more at home. He would have with age. And so every time he'd have these tantrums,
and the number of kids as well, they increased.
Yeah, this was getting worse for Adam in his middle school years.
Yeah, one of his middle school teachers would discover some of Adam's drawings. Now, these are images depicting people in various states of death. At home, Nancy is finding similar drawings of Adam's, as well as printouts showing scenes of death and violence that he had found on the internet. Nancy does seek help from a professional regarding these images that she's finding and concern about Adam's well-being and maybe where his head's at, but she does not feel that Adam's needs were being met by that professional.
And this would be difficult for any parent to deal with a typical kid, but in Adam's case, his communication skills.
Fucker!
Regardless, this is a difficult
Fuck!
This disorder.
Oh shit!
Either of these disorders.
Your death was totally gruesome amazing this time, too.
Especially for me, you're listening to Metallica.
So what do you think about our...
You doodle at school while you're trying to pass time, and skulls creep their way onto, my notebooks and my journals and things like that. Now, did I have any fantasies about going out and collecting skulls or creating havoc or death?
Well, a side note, we once were called to the principal's office because we had a band in high school, and our buddies made a poster, and they called us into the principal's office because they thought that the drawings were satanic. Now, we didn't make those drawings, but we didn't disapprove of those drawings either. Were we satanic kids? No, we were not. We just happened to be and we just, whatever. We thought it was creative.
Well, and of course, it raised a red flag for the principal or vice principal or whoever called us down there, and then they notify parents, and then parents concerned. Because here's the issue, too. And I understand Adam, they found these drawings at school as well as at home, which makes it, that more troubling. But in our situation, it was, I think my parents kind of reacted like, well, maybe I should treat this like it's some kind of big deal because the school thought it was a big deal.
Right.
They saw it and really didn't get it either.
Yeah, I don't think my father ever got why I was in a band. Now, in Adam's situation, it's different. It causes more of a red flag, if you will, because he has lack of social skills and lack of social life.
And he just doesn't even talk to anybody. I mean, he doesn't talk to his family. He doesn't talk to his classmates. He just doesn't talk, period.
But to her benefit, she seeks professional help for Adam.
Yes, she does. And she ultimately ends up removing him from that situation.
Your decision today will surely lead to a bright future for you.
Sick of hearing people tell her that
Now then,
Adam's just
let's
going to
bring you
grow
back
out
to
of
life,
this situation.
shall we?
But again, that's where I kind of take a bit of problem with the situation. Because, all these, maybe the teachers and the school counselors and this professional that you've sought out are telling you he will probably grow out of this. If you're feeling that his needs are not being met, you maybe stick with it a little bit longer.
But what a scary situation to be in as a parent. And maybe she had this gut intuition that maybe there was something a little more sinister going on with her child.
Around this same time, Adam's parents, their marriage starts having problems. And Peter and Nancy, they would separate a couple of times before Nancy... temper tantrums. This is when Adam is in 8th grade. Adam is actually taken to the hospital due to an anxiety attack that he's experiencing. This is primarily because of his SPD. He was afraid because he wasn't performing well in school. No, he was afraid because of this disorder. He was afraid of loud noises and the crowded hallways, the slamming doors, the lockers, the loud kids. All of this was making it much harder for him to go to school or to navigate through the hallways and the classrooms.
Yeah, and I have a longtime friend that is an educator, and his specialty is autistic kids or kids with Asperger's, and this is a common symptom that they really are disturbed by loud noises, by a lot of commotion.
Well, on this one situation where he's taken to the hospital, Nancy talks to the doctor, and she wants to try to get a note from the doctor stating that Adam should be homeschooled. She wants to keep him home for the remainder of his 8th grade year so that he can kind of settle in, he can focus on schoolwork and not have to go to this place that's causing him this massive anxiety and a trauma, so to speak. She wants to keep him home from 8th grade before he enters high school, but this does not end up happening. She doesn't get a note from the hospital, and she doesn't keep him home.
Yeah, and in hindsight, you wonder if this would have helped his disorder, helped what he was going through. but I guess we'll never know.
And it's in 8th grade that we start to see an increase in the troubles with Adam, as well as the disorders that are preventing him from wanting to go to school.
Well, now that he's in high school, you would think that, you know, the kids before weren't so, they weren't necessarily mean, but they weren't really attentive of him. He was just kind of invisible, the invisible kid. But I wonder if that bullying or being picked on ramped up much in high school.
Well, you're exactly right. He is kind of the invisible kid. It's another sentence that we said earlier. He is picked on occasionally. He's described as picked on occasionally, but no one ever called it bullying.
My only problem with this, though, is this is coming from all outside sources. And so I had a really good friend who actually switched schools going into high school and did not go to our high school. He was picked on so much that his family, everybody decided, hey, he's going to a different high school. Now, I knew that because I was one of his best friends, but people around didn't really understand, well, why is he not going to our high school? And I'm going, well, you didn't understand how bad it was. Now, the difference between my friend and Adam was my friend talked to his parents, told counselors what was going on. I wonder if in Adam's case there was a lot of bullying or being picked on and some other things going on that just never were reported.
Well, you have two arguments here. Nancy believed that he was being picked on, that he was bullied. Where you have the school children and his peers saying that no, that wasn't the case. We knew he was different. He didn't fit in. That's easy to see. But he never tried with us. He didn't want to talk to any of us. He didn't want to have a relationship with any of the kids here. And therefore, I don't think any of the kids made an effort on their end.
Well, Nancy wasn't helping out Adam at all with giving him that Lloyd Christmas haircut.
It's strange that you say that because there's actually a story by the man that cut his hair for years. And he described the situation as strange because, you know, you go to a barber shop or you go to get your hair cut, and it's usually a place where the person cutting your hair is trying to make small talk with you. And usually you make talk back, and sometimes it sparks up conversations and whatnot. This was not the situation for Adam or for Nancy. And I bring Nancy's name into this because the man specifically says that on every time that Adam went to get his hair cut, he was with his mother. His mother would come in and basically tell Adam where to go to sit down. Adam would go to the barber chair, and rather than, you know, the barber says, I constantly try to make jokes or to talk about things that were going to the boy.
Yeah, try to ease his mind when he put that metal bowl on his head to give him the haircut.
And I think a lot of that, too, is that, you know, these barbers usually are people. And and he probably saw that there was some anxiety with this young man, and he was trying to ease the trip for him. But he said that Adam would just stare at the tiled floor, and it was strange that the boy never really interacted with anybody at the shop there. It was all of his mom kind of telling him where to go. Okay, Adam, we're done now. Let's leave. You know, like I said, a bit of that helicopter moment.
Again, I think the whole hindrance, you know, hindsight of the whole thing is maybe she was enabling him too much, holding his hand too much, and not enabling him to grow.
Mm-hmm. And you worry that might have been the situation had she been successful taking him out of it. Maybe sometimes these fears we have to face to overcome them. Once Adam starts high school, they started off they put together a plan to kind of ease him into the school. This plan was devised by Nancy working with the school and the school's officials. He started off the year in a private setting, and once he got used to the new school, to the high school, he was slowly introduced into the traditional classes with other kids, and he was taking a lot of honors classes. Even though he had these disorders, he was not a dumb kid. You know, he was bright. He excelled academically.
And oddly enough, Adam seems like a little bit of a cartoon character.
Yeah, his peers and the school officials would later recall that Adam wore the same outfit to school every day. He wore khaki and the same polo, and he carried a briefcase.
And I wonder if it's not the same, or if it was just like we have multiple of the same outfit, but maybe Adam didn't really give a shit, so then his parents were like, you know what, we'll just kind of give him a uniform.
Yeah, I don't think that, he's not communicating well with anybody. I don't know that he's able to communicate or desires to communicate to his parents what he wants to wear to school. So maybe they just buy some things that he seems comfortable with. But yeah, he could have created his own uniform wearing that same blue polo shirt and khaki pants. The weird thing about the briefcase, first of all, that's a strange thing to carry in high school. But the thing about this, too, is a lot of people, when they saw the briefcase opened, they said it was practically empty. So it seemed even more strange that he would carry this briefcase. It sounds to me, there's a lot of accounts that when he was trying to navigate through those hallways, that he was using the briefcase as kind of a buffer between him and the other kids, that he would typically walk right on the edge of the hallway, right up against the wall, and keep that briefcase either right out in front of him or to the side of him that would kind of block him from the other children.
Yeah, well, with the Asperger's, it would, that makes a lot of sense because he does not want to be touched. Most people with Asperger's have a real issue with personal space.
And it was not uncommon for Adam to require an escort to help him navigate through the hallways of the high school.
And we'll get right back to the case after this quick beer break.
Sherry's Berries. Captain, have you tried these things?
Yeah, I actually just got sent a package of these last week because somebody thinks I'm amazing.
Sherry's Berries are fresh, juicy, sweet strawberries dipped in tempting white chocolate, milk chocolate, and dark chocolatey goodness.
This is the first time I've ever tried Sherry's Berries, and I was thoroughly impressed. One, strawberries are way bigger than I thought they would be. The chocolate was.
Oh, how I've been waiting for you. Hello,
the
believer
inside
in the power of mushrooms.
And my two favorite are the ones that are topped with chocolate chips and topped with chopped nuts.
Yeah, and they come so many in a package that I tried to be the sweet son, and I brought some over to my mother, and then she's like, oh my God, I just heard these advertised on TV.
Surprise your loved one at the office or workplace. Sherry's Berries will deliver your gift fresh and on time guaranteed.
Are you sure?
Stay right around the corner. There is only one way to give Sherry's Berries starting at $19.99.
So go to berries.com, that's BERRI.
Are you sure?
Go to the right corner and click on the microphone and use promo code TrueCrimeGarage.
Surprise your loved one and save some cash. That's berries.com. Use code TrueCrimeGarage.
It's 2017 and we could all work on our personal growth.
Come
How
again.
can we do that? We work on our mental health. And how can we do that? We use Talkspace.
Talkspace is the online therapy company, and they make it easy to connect with a licensed therapist handpicked just for you for as little as $32 a week. Using Talkspace, you can text, audio, and video message your therapist as much as you want.
The Talkspace therapist can help you with your personal growth and put you on a path to a happier life.
So if you've ever thought about going to therapy but found it too inconvenient or too expensive, then give Talkspace a try. To sign up or to learn more, go to Talkspace.com/garage. And as a special offer for our listeners, you can use coupon code GARAGE to get $30 off your first month.
Talkspace.com is just a better way to experience the benefits of having a therapist.
To sign up or to learn more, go to Talkspace.com/garage. That's Talkspace.com/garage.
Talkspace, therapy for how we live today.
HelloFresh has changed the way people eat forever. And how have they done that?
By convenience.
And with freshness.
And they have on-staff dietitians to make sure that their meals that you're getting and that you're ordering that are coming to your house have the best nutritional value they can.
HelloFresh sources the freshest ingredients. They ship out exact quantities, so there's no food waste. And each week, HelloFresh is sending recipes, step-by-step instructions designed to take around 30 minutes for anyone, for all cooks of all levels.
It's so easy. You just go on their website, you order the meals you want. It comes in a refrigerated package. It's super fresh ingredients. It would take you a lot of time and a lot of effort to find the same quality of ingredients at the grocery store. And most of the time, you can't find the same quality, the top-of-the-line quality. You actually settle for less at the grocery store. So HelloFresh makes it super easy, and you learn so much about doing the process. Doing the process of cooking these great meals, and noticing that sometimes they'll use this instead of that. Where you might always just use salt or whatever, they might throw in a different ingredient, and that steps up your overall cooking game.
HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service that makes cooking fun, easy, and convenient. They're currently offering customers a classic box or a veggie box, and soon will be launching a family box. Customers can order 5 different meal packages designed for either 2 or 4 people. New recipes
For more information and for our special promo, go to HelloFresh.com. Use promo code GARAGE35. That's HelloFresh.com. Garage.
Thanks to our fine sponsors. Make sure that you support and check out our sponsors because they support us, helping us free up some time to get in the garage and put out more shows.
Yeah, cheers everybody. Where we left off, Adam was entering concerning his mental state and kind of what's going on in his head. And she's having a very difficult time communicating with Adam.
Yeah, and at the start of his sophomore from Adam, as far as the social aspect is concerned, he surprises everybody and he signs up for an active school's book basketball games. So what we're seeing here, Captain, I think, is that we have this young troubled man, right? This boy who has trouble fitting in, and he doesn't want to be exposed to anxieties and disorders. However, he's very smart. That when he into that, and this might pique his interest, and he's coming out of the shell a bit here. He's in a way opening up.
Like we said, a lot of his classes at this point are autonomous classes.
Yeah, he's taking things that seem a little more fun to him, like shot class, and then he's involved in this AV tech club. He does train shirt for a it is believed that she kept some of the guns for herself, but that she also gave some of the guns to Adam. Now, this has been a topic of the guns, the guns were obviously hers, and maybe she should have kept them locked up better. But there's plenty of evidence here that we will see going forward. For Adam. Now, remember we had this divorce that the parents and family have just gone through recently. And it's Adam's classmates that say that Adam was not affected by his parents' divorce, and that while he did not talk to most of the other kids, he did seem to write about the separation often. In September of 2009, Adam starts playing and becomes obsessed with a video game called Combat Finals. This is a multiplayer In this game, there is a form of gameplay where whomever kills the most players in the shortest amount of time, and you can also increase your kill number. This situation is quite different from real life, obviously. In the game world, he would fit in. He would fit in, they would have these forums and these groups that he developed. He was accepted into these groups where he would discuss game strategies and occasionally joke around. Adam creates an online gaming persona in which he calls himself Canebrake. This becomes a positive social experience for Adam.
Yeah, so I think a lot of fans might go, well, this is but the fact that he was talking about that's a positive step in the right direction.
And it's probably because of these games that he's playing, but he's also having an increasing military obsession and fascination. Adam also becomes involved in an online community for gun enthusiasts. He knows his stuff from his interactions on this forum. Again, he fits in very well, and he's knowledgeable about firearms.
Yeah, and what we're also seeing with Adam is good with social situations. It seems like behind a computer screen or a TV screen when he's playing these games, that he's kind of excelling more so than he ever has as far as the social communication. And it seems like he's definitely willing to.
Yeah, he's fitting in and he's reaching out to other people and communicating with them. I do want to point out that this, I mentioned the game Combat Arms, that this is only one of many games that Adam was playing. Most of these games were very violent games.
Yeah, I've never actually heard of that game.
Yeah, I had not either. So, and I don't know where to rank these games as far as violence goes. It sounds to me like all of them were pretty violent. One of the games that he was playing is a situation where the shooter was even killing women and children in the game.
Yeah, which is awful, but in this case, in this conversation, if you will, the big conversation always is with these violent games, are kids more likely to commit violent acts? I don't personally have an answer or a stance.
Either, and I don't want anybody saying that take away the violent games because I think there is a place for them. But one thing that we see time and time again in these situations where you have a mass shooter, especially one that's a younger person, we are seeing it's a common occurrence that these guys are playing violent video games. And I say guys because almost all of these crimes are committed by young males.
Right, but then the question becomes, cause the person to become more violent, or was this person already a sociopath or a psychopath, and they were wrong by
I think each situation is probably different. I don't think that we can say that it's the violent video games 100%. I do think that what it does do, though, is that it desensitizes them. When you're logging 500 out, there was one of these games, I'm not sure if it was the Combat Arms game or not, but we talked about how violent that game is. But there was one of these violent games that Adam had logged over 500 times that he had played the game.
Yeah, and I think in defense of his mother on this, I mean, Adam is in honor programs, and he's doing well in school academically, not socially, and his only social avenue are these games. So maybe she thought this would help his social skills outside, in the real world and not just the virtual world.
Well, is it kind of an easy way of being a parent that when you have a son that likes to lock himself in the basement and he's taped off all the windows so that he likes to be in the dark. He prefers to be in the dark.
Come back anytime.
Is it an easy way to be a parent when your troubled son just goes off into the basement for hours upon hours and you don't have to deal with him? You don't have to put up with the temper tantrums because he's happy, he's entertaining himself, and you're not really fully aware nor seem to care what he does in that room because he's safe and you know that he's entertained and he's not disturbing you.
Well, in Nancy's defense, I mean, you have a child that has a lot more challenges, faces probably more challenges than the typical kid. But we see this time and time again with just typical kids. The parents just go, oh, well, you're on a phone or you're on an iPad or whatever. Who cares if it's healthy for you? I just don't have to deal with you.
I do think, though, that it desensitizes these kids to that certain level of violence, even though it's just on-screen violence. But again, if he's logging over 500 games on this one particular game, that's thousands upon thousands of hours spending watching those violent images over and over again. And we do know from studies that if a kid is young enough, that they almost cannot separate the reality, real life reality from what they're seeing on the screen.
And I don't know much. I don't know a lot about Asperger's, but I've also heard that they can get hyper focused on something. And so, do you really want your kid that can get super hyper focused on something to be hyper focused on killing people, or or violence in general?
Well, it's around the same time that Adam would start to spend countless hours studying mass killers online. He spent about 7 months or so just collecting information on these killers to the point where he was an expert on mass murders, to the point where he was going on to Wikipedia and he was correcting entries. If people had put wrong dates on there, he would go in and correct them. If somebody had put names of locations were wrong. But most of the time he was correcting the weapons that were used or descriptions of those weapons that were used in those attacks.
Yeah, and at this point, Lloyd Christmas is getting pretty creepy, right? And I think at this point, I can point a finger at Nancy on the idea of if your kid that is hyper focused on mass murders and going on Wikipedia and changing dates and stuff, this is something you should be aware of.
You're right. Yeah, or at least have a hint of it, right?
Right.
If he's spending hours and months on this project that he's created.
But okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for myself.
Okay.
But if he's not, how would you know? I mean, you'd have to go the extra step and look at, well, look, I'm not a parent, but I think all parents do this. I was a parent for a time. I was a stepfather, and kids had cell phones and iPads. But at any time, I would just go, let me see your phone. Like, they might be laughing a little too hard. And I'd say, let me see your phone. And if they didn't want to give me their phone, that phone was taken away for a week. But it was constantly checking their, not constantly, but, just double checking what are they searching on the internet.
And I like these households where you see parents saying, there's not a closed door in this house. This is an open door house.
But it's harder as well because these houses were large. So it wasn't the shoebox. I mean, these were houses that a person could house
But he also kind of has some kind of memorabilia where he had newspaper clippings and stories that he had read from regarding these different matters. Probably the most disturbing item that we know is a spreadsheet that he created. I don't know. To hear that sentence alone is terrifying, to remind yourself that there's been hundreds of these situations. Right? But he had listed several hundreds of these. Created the spreadsheet that has been reported to have been approximately 7 foot long in length.
Yeah, so we don't know if it was actual physical or if it was digital, but it was good.
You're right. It would be a possibility. So this is some serious time that he So this would be his junior year. And it's reported by people at the school that Nancy seemed to be angry with the school, but Adam also seemed to be and like you said, you know, it's supposed to be a place that you look back on that's of good memories. Even though he had this anxiety, we don't it's just him and his mother in a house, other than violent video games and research about violent criminals, that maybe his only social life outside of those four walls was the school. Maybe the only thing he was leaving was the school. I mean, other than the shooting range to go rent some video games.
Well, and I wonder also if he was playing video games online, assuming, and being in part of that community. Sometimes kids, you know, will find a couple buddies at school that like to play. So maybe he had a couple people that maybe just even said hi to him, and maybe that was enough for him to enjoy that experience at school.
So after high school, after he's taken out of high school his junior year, Adam is enrolled in Western Connecticut State University. Nancy believed that he would do better in a
well, I feel for her too, because I think something extra.
Yeah, I don't. The thing is, what we're seeing cares. No, what? But we're seeing her try some different things. To me, I just question if she could have received a little more information from the people around her on ways to cope with this and to deal with this. I don't know that her answers were always the best. And I know that I'm sitting in a seat where I'm able to look back after this. Intelligence or informative decisions.
Right. And I think sometimes we'll never know, but I think sometimes people are lost causes. You know, it's like, you know, the whole what came first, the chicken or the egg, we don't know. But I mean, possibly in this case, he just had these demons inside him from the beginning.
Yeah. There's also some question with Adam about, on top of these disorders, did he have any kind of anorexia? Because he is a very thin young man. And so there's been a lot of counts. Could be the actual.
He was 20 years old at the time of the attack. He looks almost 12. Yeah. Don't structure in his face.
Very pale. But again, we said he preferred the dark, and you know, we know he was in the basement constantly at home with the windows taped up so that there was no light coming in.
Yeah, and then a lot of these kids that get super focused on whether it's iPad or whatever it is, they don't, you know, they forget to eat or they don't even care to eat.
Academically, he had no problem with high school. And intelligence-wise, he had no problem with handling the classes or the school. It's just, I just really wonder here if that's the right thing to do, to remove a kid from high school and then place them in an adult setting, in an adult environment, such as a community college.
Yeah, in all fairness, though, I mean, you know, high school is not a huge step up. And, you know, going from high school to college is not a huge step up, so it's not like, you know, he would have been a senior the following year, so he only stepped up 1 year and a bit.
He did take 7 classes when he was at Western Connecticut State University, receiving a 3.2 grade average. Now, let's talk about their divorce, okay? Peter, we had said, was very successful. He worked for General Electric, was a vice president. He made approximately like $500,000.
Oh, good for him.
Well, in the divorce,
How did you say it? Divorce.
yeah, Nancy received a lot of alimony or a lot of child support.
Right.
But it was also agreed upon the two that they both understood that Adam had plenty of issues.
Right, his disease.
Yeah. And Peter understood that Adam needed to be cared for practically 24/7, even as a young man, and probably as an adult as well. And so he understood that his son, that nobody could go off and work a full-time job and care for him at the same time. So I don't think that Peter fought anything that was decided in the divorce. It was agreed upon that he gave almost half of his salary to Nancy so that Nancy could stay home, provide for Adam, and take care of him.
Yeah, and that's good on Peter, right?
And again, this was not only for the time that Adam was a child, but as an adult as well. Nancy would receive this amount of money for the rest of her life with steady increases annually as well. So money is not the problem.
Money is definitely not the problem.
But what is also decided is that Nancy would have primary custody of the kids. But Peter's going to spend regular time with the children as far as visits go. You know how these things work. You take them on the weekends or for holidays, try to take the kids places. So he's spending an ample amount of time with both of his sons. It's in 2010 that Adam's father, Peter, begins dating again.
Oh, it's
or
you.
At least to the point that it's serious enough for Adam to recognize this. And at this time, Adam decides to stop seeing and communicating with his father. At the same time, he also decides to do the same with his brother, as well as an uncle that he was close to growing up. Also in 2010, Adam receives his driver's license. But again, the only places he's really interested in going to would be the shooting range and the video game store.
Come back
He
anytime.
also drops out of school at this time. He stops going to college. So 2010, there's a lot of things happening here, right? We see a boy that's taken out of high school. He goes into the college situation for 1 year, and then shortly after that, he's dropped communication with his father, his brother, his uncle, collects his driver's license, practically just staying at home, might as well not have a license at all. With the exception, though, it should be noted, though, he was going to the shooting range on occasions by himself at this point, once he had the driver's license, but then dropping out of college ultimately.
One could assume that he's going to the driving range with his own guns as well.
But, right, of course, you mean the shooting range. He's not going to the driving range.
Time just a little bit to 2012.
Yeah, Nancy Lanza starts getting out of the house more. We have to think about this situation here. We have this troubled child, and it's probably caused her, obviously, a lot of stress on her life and her situation. And in 2012, she develops some more friendships with some of the locals. She starts going to a local pizza place for a beer or two during happy hour a few times a week. Some of the information that we would later find out about the relationship between Nancy and Adam would be from some of these friends that she created at this happy hour.
Yeah, everybody needs somebody to vent to, and what better way to vent than to eat some beer?
Well, she also starts going on overnight trips with friends from time to time as well. You know, Adam is very much an adult, and even though he doesn't have any hobbies or anything other than locking himself in the basement and playing violent video games, he's fine outside of those four walls. He's able to care for himself. And she goes on these overnight trips. I believe she went on a dozen or so in the year of 2012. Remember when we talked about Adam having this obsession? And this was something that he was only really being vocal about. Different combat situations, things like tanks and aircraft carriers and things that you would heavy machinery you would see in the armed forces. At some point, Nancy has to have a talk with him and explain to him that he's never going to be a Marine. this obviously, because of his disorders, he could never be a Marine. I mean, you're talking about a kid that had trouble leaving the home, a person that had trouble going to school.
Which I have some trouble with, because I think on some level she could say, well, look, we get you into some counseling, and maybe get out of the basement, try to do something productive with his life.
She would also tell friends that she's hanging out with, that Adam's time now that he has less.
Or maybe, like I said, on some level, she has this mother maybe there's something more sinister going on here.
Adam is now, and Nancy is still finding disturbing drawings. And she is shot. She's being shot by machine gun fire. Another one is an open field, and in the open field lie mutilated bodies of children scattered throughout the field. Their faces are so bloodied that you couldn't discern any of their features. There's also a drawing of what appears to be a younger to the sky. So it's almost like a suicide picture that he's drawn.
And Lord Christmas keeps getting creepier and creepier.
Well, we had to talk about her explaining to Adam that he couldn't become a Marine. Here's some added stress to the situation, because now Nancy starts discussing like she had developed any type of relationship that would have taken her there, but Adam was to go with her, so that family portion would not be disrupted. It would just be transplanted. Again, Adam seems, but as it becomes closer to the goal of moving, and as these talks become more serious, Adam's opposite reaction from her. He's not liking the idea of moving. Nancy was planning on moving with Adam to Washington State. This probably would have taken place sometime in 2013. But also the other thing here too that has not been well reported in my opinion was that by this time Nancy's health is really starting to fail her. This again is probably a lot of people just because she's only 52 years of age, and a lot of her friends seem to think that she appeared to be healthy, but she did have some hidden health problems that were coming about and really starting to take their toll on her as she was still trying to care for her now adult son.
Yeah, before we get to December of 2012, tell me again about Nancy's dream.
Well, this was a situation that happened. This is something she told her friend about in September of 2012. That she had a dream about Adam. That she in the dream, she was outside with Adam. They're enjoying like a beautiful day, right? When all of a sudden a large gust of wind comes and it starts to slowly lift Adam up into the air. Now Nancy runs over and grabs Adam's legs, and she's trying to hold on to him, but the pull just starts to get stronger and stronger, and then she loses her grip on herself. And Adam slowly lifts up into the sky. Where she cannot see him any longer. It's kind of a crazy dream when you think about how involved she had to be, and being that helicopter mom always watching over him. And even when she couldn't be there, trying to make sure others were watching as well.
Like I said, there's more evidence from the get-go that she had a gut feeling about her son and a gut feeling that she didn't want to have.
What should have happened? Let her. Here, Captain. It's that gut feeling. You got to some other people again. Complaint here. She didn't care for him. I think she cared for him an unbelievable amount.
Your death was
I just
totally...
don't think that
Really?
she, even though she
Thank
thought she
you
did,
so
I don't think
much.
she knew what was best for her.
Well, Captain Obvious.
I also want to talk about a few other things that were taking place leading up to December 2012. So, Nancy, these are all things that Nancy had told friends of hers. Now, keep in mind, the neighbors would describe Nancy and Adam as kind of like ghosts. Like they were just not there. You know, this was a community where people went out and they spoke to their neighbors and they did things in the community. Well, Adam, we know, obviously didn't do that. And other than some friendships that Nancy had, we don't see a lot of that either, and a lot of that's probably her being home with her son, caring for her son.
Yeah, or just the extra stress of it.
But she would tell friends that
What the fuck?
the event took place, that she had
Your
an
death
experience
was
with Adam.
Really?
This was he
Thank
was
you
not
so
leaving the
much.
home by this point. 3
Strong
months
decision
before
making is
December,
key to
he was
survive.
basically on lockdown, and he had locked himself up, and he's not leaving the house.
Self-lockdown.
Right. He's not going to the video game store. He's not going to the shooting range anymore.
He's not going to the driver's range.
Yeah, he's not doing anything with this driver's license. And things got so strange that he at some point started only communicating with his mother through email. They live in the same home. The two of them are in the same home, and he's only communicating with her through email. Now, one thing that happened too was that Nancy was planning we talked about these overnight trips that she started to do. Well, those were just that, just over one night. They were just short trips. Well, late that year, she was planning to take a much longer trip. She wanted to go to London. And this would be a bit of a household experiment, if you will. This would be a point for her to go off and have some leisure time and get away from the stresses of home, and to see if Adam could handle himself for more than one night on his own.
Yeah, because normally at this point, the child is probably college, or if they're still living at home, they're in school, they probably have a job, they're just not around the house that much. And he comes back, he gets back to me time.
Right.
And she doesn't have that luxury.
Now, Adam bumps his head. She reports this to some of her friends. There's some kind of accident in the home, and she states that he bumped his head pretty badly, and he was taking it very badly as well. So he's injured somehow. We don't know the details of this, but for whatever reason, and it's probably this situation, she states that she canceled
welcome
her
back.
London trip, and simply just states to friends that it's because of things going on at home that she's no longer going to go on this London trip.
And I'm sure she's talking to Adam about this trip, so maybe it's this elaborate plan because he doesn't want her to leave.
Mm-hmm. And she's really backed in a corner here, right? I mean, he's no longer
come back
communicating
anytime
with his father,
or brother, or uncle, and now he's only communicating with you through email.
Yeah, and now you can't go somewhere, you can't take this trip because he probably does need somebody to look after him. He might not be able to handle being alone for that amount of time.
Right, but there's probably something going on through her head, right? Nancy's head.
Mm-hmm.
He's 20 years old. She wants to get on with her life. She wants to have a life.
Right.
I wonder at this point, is she going, okay, now, because he's my son, am I locked down forever? Am I, handicapped by his handicaps, basically? It's a really tough spot for her to be in.
Yeah, and she can't get the father involved. She can't push Adam off onto the father to get away for a week because he's broken communication with him. And now only communicating to you through email. If you attempt something like that, he might break off communication with you as well. It might be lost completely.
Well, you're right.
This brings us to Friday, December 14th,
it's you.
2012. Now, sometime before 9:30 that morning, Adam got up and he's planning something and he's doing some things in the house. We're a little unclear of what those movements are, and we'll come to those later. However, what we do know that takes place that morning before 9:30 is that Nancy,
Come back anytime.
52 years of age, she's shot dead. And this is the situation. She's found in her bed, still wearing her pajamas. She's lying on her back, and she's shot 4 times in the head with a .22 caliber Savage MK2F bolt-action rifle. Now, she's shot at such a close distance that they are almost certain that the barrel of the gun would have been touching her head, meaning that even if she was still asleep when this took place, there was probably enough time that from the time that it was pointed to her head that she may have opened her eyes just in time to see her son shooting.
Right. Hopefully not.
She was shot so badly and at such a close range 4 times that it almost took off her head. To put it,
Blunt, yeah.
obviously we don't fully know if he took her hostage for any length of time or if she was aware of what was going on. All we can go off of is the evidence that we see afterwards of her being in her bed, still in her pajamas. So it is assumed that she was probably attacked in her sleep that morning. This all took place just before 9:30, and right afterwards, if he killed her at 9:30, then immediately afterwards, he got into her car.
And the problem with covering these shows, or these cases, is we all know what is next. And that's what we're going to dive into tomorrow. I just can't do.
I think
I can't break as we put cases on there when you dive in and it physically affects you. And this one, more so than anything, watching the documentary on trauma from listening to the show by any means. Show. But we will not interact about that. We want to be respectful to
on a lighter note, I do have some recommended movies for today. This week, we're going to start in The Fly about Paul Below. In this superb work of the church a spellbinding combination of a memoir and a serial. We have a story where we have a serial and her search what might lie inside of all of us. Now, I'm recommending this one not only because it's a fantastic book, but because last week I misspoke when we were talking about the National Forest serial killer.
Oh, you or me misspeak?
Can you imagine?
Never happened.
Well, last week I was referring to another serial killer, and I said Joseph Francois, and his actual name is Kendall Francois. I was actually just going off of my core memory. The journalist having a relationship with Kendall Francois, that serial killer that I talked about briefly in our last episode.
Was it just a friendship or was it?
No. She on his story one month. So she went to meet with him on multiple occasions. Now, she's a young, attractive
Your
journalist.
death was
So
totally
this is very
Goose
kind of
amazing
Silence
this
of the
time,
Lambs-ish,
too.
you know,
Really?
You have the young woman
Thank
meeting
you
with
so much.
the psychopath.
Strong decision
And
making.
I want to read a little quick caption from the book to you. Well, can I call you Claudia? I have to give it to you. When confronted at your as honest as any reporter, you want to go into the depths of my mind and into my past. I want to peek into yours. It's only fair, isn't it? And that was by the serial killer Kendall Francois.
Wow, that really comes off as that Silence of the Lambs type feel.
Yeah, so check out The Spider and the Fly by Claudia Rowe, and you can do that by going to our website. We have a recommended page. You're going to see lots of books to choose from, even a couple of movies on there as well. Check any of those out and click on the Amazon banner and pick those up today.
And you can buy anything through Amazon, and they give a little kickback to us. I will not be purchasing any true crime books or anything this week because I just can't handle it. But as always, we appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate you telling a friend. And make sure you support our sponsors like sockclub.com, one of my favorite sponsors of all time. These great people at Sock Club, when you sign up for a subscription, they send you a pair of awesomely designed, great designs, and it comes with a little note and everything, and you get it every month once you sign up for the subscription at sockclub.com.
And socks are coming quite the fashion piece these days, you know, whether you be at the office or out with friends, you know, when you're wearing the suit, people got the fancy socks underneath, so Sock Club certainly has the most unique designs.
Yeah, because of Sock Club, all my friends know to check out my sock club.
And don't forget Sock Club. And just for our listeners, if you 15% off of your subscription, so go to use the code GARAGE at checkout. Go to sockclub.com, use promo code GARAGE.
And again, a special thanks to everybody that shares on social media. It's been awesome. Check out some of our new stuff on YouTube. Make sure you tell a friend. We appreciate it, and it's the reason why we're able to get. We've been trying to do 2 programs every week.
And we will see you again here in the garage tomorrow. Until then, be good, be kind, and don't let it.
This episode is brought to you by Sock Club.
Every month, I am extremely thrilled to receive my Sock Club package, and I cannot wait to surprise that special someone with a subscription for Valentine's Day.
What is Sock Club? It's pretty simple. It's a monthly subscription where they send you a pair.
Sock Club features a different design. Go to sockclub.com and get 15% off using discount code GARAGE at checkout.
That's sockclub.com. Use our promo code GARAGE 15% off at checkout.
Give a little reminder of your love every month. Give sock love. Because he's like Tom Brady, because we once caught him eating grass. He is the captain.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing on social media. It's good to be seen, and it's good to see.
Does that mean you're a vegetarian?
Nothing goes better with grass than a nice cold beer.
In the garage, we are drinking Fuzzy Baby Dutch IPA by New England Brewing Company. Garage grade, 4.5 bottle caps out of 5. What a fantastic Citra single malt IPA. Connecticut's finest beers. One of the finest breweries. Fuzzy Ducks was brought to us by some of our warm and fuzzy friends. First, we have Lisa, all the way from Bergen, Norway. Next, we have Jen and Sydney from Cincinnati, Ohio, who recommend Rheingeist Truth. Well, we had recommended Rheingeist Truth.
We actually have some Rheingeist Truth in the refrigerator right now.
And we've recommended Rheingeist Fiction as well on True Crime Garage. So thanks to Jen and Sydney down in the Natty.
And a big thank you to Penny Lynn up in Saskatchewan.
In parts unknown, we have Andrew, who says, I love listening in my car, but the other day it was my turn to drive to lunch and my coworkers hopped in my car just in time to hear about a strangulation. So that happened. Andrew also says he loves the tunes on the show. Next we go all the way from Taiwan. I think this is a True Crime Garage first here, Captain. We have Jan in Taipei City, Taiwan. Jan says, drink some more beer, keep up the great. We also have Rebecca from Baltimore.
Marissa from Berwyn, Illinois.
Yes, Marissa says, try some Spotted Cow from Wisconsin. It's the official beer of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, done. I actually have a friend, his wife is from up there. And so she brings home Spotted Cow a couple times a year. So I've had it multiple times.
Why has it not made it to the garage?
I don't know. Ask Justin. You just ask Justin.
We'll check in with Justin. So thank you to everybody for buying here for this week's show. If you want to buy us around for next week's show, go to truecrimegarage.com and click on the donate button.
And like always, follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. I've been kind of lazy about the Snapchat. I was doing the Brian Wilson Snapchats in the morning. But if you want any information on what Nick is drinking, he is on Untapped.
Yes, it's like Facebook for drunks.
And like always, big kiss.
Kids, if you find cocaine in your parents' dresser or drawer at home, snort as much as possible. It cannot hurt you.
Or lace your blood with it.
Either way, you're going to have a good time, it's fun, and it's safe. Haley Joel Osment, everybody.
Hey, you got some pomp and circumstance. You look fantastic.
Thank you, so you.
That was a brisk ass walk. You're athletic.
The fastest guess from Carton Touts.
You're a comet. You're a shooting star. You're in the one M. Night Shyamalan movie that wasn't a stinking pile of shit. I just want to lay some ground rules, okay? First off, no rules, okay? I don't ask the fluff questions here. O-N. Rules? Out the window. I break the rules, too. All the rules.
That's the kind of interview you signed up for. that up?
Oh.
Now, you tweeted out, not only am I not a Scientologist, but I challenge their shitbag legal team to come at me guns blazing.
I remember saying that.
Hannibal agrees, but I stayed out of that one.
I would never have
All right, it's time to play Force to Orgasm. Your turn to orgasm, brother.
Orgasm.
Do it. You better do it.
Welcome.
Freaky ass shit.
Come back anytime. Oh, it's you. Thanks. 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 Come back anytime. Welcome. Thanks. Come back anytime. Oh, it's you. Thanks. Come back anytime.
like your gym, for all the support that we get.
All right, everybody, gather around, grab a chair, grab a beer, and let's talk some true crime.
I think there's somebody shooting in here.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Because somebody's got somebody's running down the hallway. There's someone and they're still shooting. Sandy, go to school, please.
John 911, what's the answer?
It's 10 Dickinson Drive. Sandy Hook, Newtown, Connecticut.
Okay, what's going on? Dickinson Drive?
It sounds like there's a shot in the hallway. I'm a teacher in the school.
Okay, where are you in the school right now?
I am in the school, in the classroom.
Okay, do you have everyone in the classroom and the doors
All
open?
of my students, the door is not locked yet. I have to go.
Okay, let's go down. Keep everybody calm, keep everybody down, get everybody away from the windows, okay?
Yes. Okay.
Where are you in the school?
I am in the hallway when you walk in the car entrance if you take a left.
Okay, alright, just try to walk down the school, okay?
We're trying, okay.
Alright, perfect.
Right.
John 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Sandy Hook Elementary School, 12 Dickinson Drive.
Okay, I've got that. What's going on down there?
I believe they're shooting at the front glass. Something's going on.
Alright, I want you to stand in line. Where are you in the school?
I'm down the corridor.
Alright, I want you to take cover. Jen, get the sergeant. Alright, get everybody you can going down there. Alright, let me get some information from you. What makes you think that?
The front glass was all shot out there. It kept going on.
Okay.
It's still happening.
Alright, what about the students in the front of the building?
Everything's locked up as far as I know. I'm not in the front.
Alright, you're in lockdown?
Yeah, they're in lockdown.
Did you see anything out the window?
No, it's still going on. I can't get over there.
Okay, I don't want you to go over there. I want to know what's happening with the students, though, along the front corridors. This is in the front parking lot?
Yes. I'm not in the front. I'm actually down the other part, but I'm close.
Okay. Do you see anything or hear anything more?
I keep hearing shooting. I keep hearing popping.
Get him, get him.
All right, Jen, let's get one caller. I'll take my
Get him, get him.
All right, now, who am I talking with right now? All right, mate. What's your name? Rick Storm. All right. Rick, what's your position in the store?
Get him, get him, get him, get him, get him.
All right, now when you say the store's in lockdown,
Get him, get him.
okay. All the rooms are locked. Okay, did you see anything out front before this? Now, State Police.
Suck this!
Friday, December 12, 12-year-old Adam Peter Lanza woke up, gathered some of his friends, shot his mother 4 times in the head as she lie in bed in pajamas, probably left the 20-caliber Savage bolt-action rifle that he used to kill his mother in her room, and at sometime around 9:30 a.m. got into his mother's Honda.
But a lot of the events and a lot of the details will be questioned.
Especially this next one. Has said that a vehicle matching the description to the vehicle that Adam was driving that morning had drove near the high school but never entered the parking lot. There were 2 police cars in the high school. If this vehicle was in fact the car that Adam was driving, he may have seen the police officer's vehicles and changed his plans at the last minute. And if this is the case, I mean, we will never know. But he instead drove to the Sandy Hook Elementary School, which was just a short 5-minute drive from the Lanza's home.
But Adam ends up at Sandy Hook Elementary School around 9:35.
Yeah, Adam gets out of the vehicle. He leaves the doors open. He parked near the fire lane. He left a shotgun along with ammunition in the vehicle. It's been thought that if he were to go into the school, whatever once first responders started to arrive,
There's a couple reports, and I see this as far as, and we'll get into some of the conspiracy stuff later, but there is a lot of reports stating that it wasn't a shotgun left in the car, that it was and that is not correct. It was actually the shotgun left in his vehicle.
Adam was wearing black clothing. He had gloves, sunglasses, He had 2 pistols in his military-style cargo pants. There was no one going in or out of the school at this time. Adam Lanza, using his mother's Bushmaster XM15 E2, he shot
They let you in. You're on camera. You have to identify who you are.
And this is definitely a step in the right direction from when we were in school. I mean, if these are setting in place certain precautions, certain elements don't make it Yeah, and Adam actually briefly stopped there for a minute. And this is where the staff now knows that the pops that they had just heard were actually gunshots because they can see the man and they can see the firearms. In this commotion, someone accidentally tripped the switch to the PA or the intercom system. This is now projecting.
Maybe it's not an accident. Maybe it was. This is a word to let everybody else in the school know what was going on.
The person that accidentally hit the switch said that they accidentally hit the switch when they were trying to drop the
Adam is now inside Sandy Hook Elementary School. The first 911 call has been played.
In the hallway, we have Principal Don Hotchkiss, teacher Natalie Hammond, and psychologist Barry Sherlock. She's unable to do so, and Adam shot her several times. He then turns the gun on the psychologist. Natalie Hammond was shot several times, but she was lying on the floor. She lay very still on the floor until the shooter left the area. Afterward, Adam went down the hallway toward the first grade classroom.
Natalie Hammond would actually survive this attack.
Yeah, but the principal, Hochsprung, and psychologist Sherlock did not. As we know in these situations, people do not always know what is going on. You, of course, don't wake up in the morning expecting to hear gunshots that day. So when you do, it's not always clear what you may have heard. But also in this situation, we have some very young kids at school. And of course, some of them are just too young to comprehend what is going on. So some of the kids that are hearing this gunfire, now mind you, the noises are still going off over the intercom system. Some of these kids are saying things like they think maybe the army left the school or that there's an animal loose in the school. It's an unbelievably sad situation. As terrible situation is, but please keep in mind there is only one monster here. There is only one unbelievable person. There are many, many honorable, brave heroes in the school. Teachers, administrators, doing everything that they can to try to save children. To disarm the shooter. There's the custodian, Rick Thorne, who ran down the halls warning everyone that there's a shooter in the building. He was locking doors and telling teachers and children to get down and hide. Teacher Victoria Soto barricaded kids in a closet and told many of them to hide.
Those 911 calls that those gunshots are fake. But those gunshots are not fake, people. And that guy was running and trying to communicate with the 911 dispatch. Shots are being fired as he's moving around the building. And that is called bravery, and that's something we should commend him for.
Not only did teacher Victoria Soto barricade kids in a closet and telling other children to get under desks, but she ultimately ended up putting herself between the shooter and the kids, and fatally shot her for doing so.
When all the teachers were trying to keep the students calm, which is a lot more difficult when you have younger students not knowing what is going on.
Yeah, some of the teachers did this by praying with them or praying for them out loud, by telling them nice and soothing words and phrases. Some of them even telling the children that they are loved and that the teachers love them. So we see the situation trying to keep everybody calm, but quiet as well, tucked away in these concealed areas to try to be not by this maniac that's in the school. Just after 9:40 a.m., police hear a shot that is fired. Adam, using the Glock pistol that he had concealed in his large cargo pants, put the gun up to the lower rear portion of his skull, and he fired the final bullet, killing himself.
The police outside. It only took them 5 minutes to respond to the 911 calls.
And when the police arrived, they had actually heard several shots. When they first it was later determined that that may have been the case because some of the teachers who were actually running and hitting vehicles in the parking lot.
But during all this chaos and confusion, Nancy Lanza actually receives a text message from one of her friends saying that there is something going on at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
At 2:11 p.m. that afternoon, CNN reports the shooting suspect is named Ryan Lanza, and he is in his 20s. About 10 minutes later, Fox News reports the same. And a few minutes after that, MSNBC followed up the same information. Police found an ID card for Ryan Lanza in Adam Lanza's clothing. Ryan Lanza was at work when he first heard about the shooting on the news.
Just so everyone is confused, Ryan Lanza is the older brother of Adam.
Yeah, he's about 4 years older than Adam. And he is still at work when he first hears the after hearing this news, of course, he immediately leaves work without giving I can't say exactly what he said, but he basically posted on Facebook just after he left. Now through text and Facebook messages, he is communicating with his friends. Some of his friends are asking if he is okay. Others want to know how the with no evidence. I mean, they're talking about
essentially law enforcement. You can't probably possibly ID him right away. And then you have an ID on this individual that states who he is.
But that's not being reported in the news. It's just being reported that Ryan Lanza is the, they're not reporting that they found an ID of anybody.
Well, and I don't think they're even reporting that the shooter is dead.
No, they are all over the map with what they're reporting.
Sorry for what?
But that's the problem with news in general. I mean, we have this mentality now to be first. Who gives a shit about being right?
What on earth are you talking about?
Let's be first, and that's definitely not the way we cover any story, especially one as tragic as this one.
So after Ryan has had some time to think about what's going on and try to process the information, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, that he's received, he sends a private Facebook message to a friend, a very close friend, and he says, the shooter could have had my ID. And then a few minutes later, Ryan sent another message to the same friend saying, it was my brother. Oh my God, I think my mother is dead.
There's probably a lot of thoughts going through Ryan's head at this moment. My brother
What the hell are you talking about?
to actually read it. Audible is the perfect solution to listen to your favorite books while you're on the go. Listen to them on your camera during your
Did you rape somebody? Again?
Can also be downloaded and you can listen to it on your Kindle Fire. And right now, I'm listening to The Spider and the Fly by Claudia Rowe. I'm currently right now, Audible is offering a free 30-day trial membership. Go to audible.com/garage to start your free trial today. Again, that's audible.com/garage for a free still don't know many details of what events took place.
Several of the kids are being reunited with their parents. Now, these parents would be greeted by the governor, who stood before them to give a very short announcement. And his announcement was only 2 of the children were taken to the hospital, and they responded. So the parents started to scream. One man yelled out, "Where do we go? We want to be with our kids." The governor responded by saying, "No one else has been taken to the hospital." Another parent then shouted, "What does that mean? Are they all dead?" And the governor says yes.
At this point, we have a bunch of officers and law enforcement heading to the Lanza home to maybe get some more clues.
Yeah, because at this point they've connected the black Honda that they found in the parking lot, the one that Adam was driving, as being that of Nancy Lanza's. The officers were actually expecting a potential gunfight when arriving. They didn't really know what they were walking into or had any expectation of what they might see or encounter. They entered the home without any trouble. They begin to swarm the house with bodies. The first thing that they notice is the house is extremely clean and well organized. They go down to the basement. The basement's extremely dark. They do see the military posters covering the walls, and covering the windows are those black trash bags fixed to the walls with duct tape. Upstairs, they find journals of Adams and drawings that he has made. In the closet of one of the rooms, they find neatly arranged hangers. There's 5 hangers with tan-colored shirts and 5 with matching khaki pants.
Right, we kind of talked about that before, possibly that Adam wore a uniform.
Yeah, like a self-created uniform.
Right.
They find computers. Now, on these computers, all of these computers, the hard drives have been destroyed, and the internal disk have been scratched. These rooms had the windows covered as well with the trash bags. In the master bedroom, they find the body of Nancy Lanza. She's lying on her back, still in her pajamas. The .22 caliber gun that was used to kill her was lying at the foot of her bed. They would also find quite a bit of firearms in the house, as well as 1,600 rounds of ammunition.
When law enforcement gets to the gun locker or the gun safe, there's no evidence that was tampered with or broken into.
They also find a photograph of Adam holding a gun to his head. They find 3 photos of dead bodies with heads that are covered in plastic.
Oh, it's you.
And their bodies are covered in blood. They found a military uniform and Adam's first grade report card from Sandy Hook Elementary School. They also find a holiday card addressed to Adam from his mother, which contained a check. Now, the card specified that the money was for a C-183, which I don't know exactly what that is, but what police say or police believe is that the money was for a handgun.
I think a lot of times when we have these tragic events,
Let's take a look.
we're looking for the reason why, right? And we're also looking how can we prevent this. And
Come
there's some
back
signs.
anytime.
I mean, we've talked about that in the last episode. But whether or not his mother found these pictures of these dead individuals, but we know that she found pictures of drawings that he's done. There's some disturbing stuff. I understand that at some point he was seeing a therapist. He should have been seeing a therapist the whole time.
Forever. Multiple visits every week for a long, long period of time. Yeah, there's some obvious signs here to us. There are some things here pointed out as well that show that Adam didn't firearm and go into school and shoot the place up. No, what we're seeing here is he took the time to try to destroy these computers. He also arrived on the scene with earplugs to muffle the sounds of the gunshots, with multiple firearms.
Oh,
Even
it's
if we go
you.
back further, I mean, this is kind of like, to me, the best analogy
Thanks.
is like a hurricane, right? It starts out in the ocean, really small, and this started back when
Thanks.
and the storm just kept growing and growing and growing until it was
Thanks.
until it peaked, but also peaked at the same time that it hit land. And I feel that's kind of what it was. Not only did he plan these events, maybe days beforehand, this was a perfect storm leading up to this whole event.
The other day I was discussing this case with a friend of mine, and I was going over some of the things that were found interesting was the 1,600 rounds of ammunition. I mean, that number sounds very big, and to see it on paper, it looks very big. Keep in mind, we know that he had at least 300 rounds of ammunition on his person because he had those 10 magazines, each carrying 30 rounds in them. That doesn't even include the other firearms that were present at the scene. So it sounds like a lot of ammunition, right? Mm-hmm. And that was what really stood out and called this person that I was talking with. I did bring up to them, though, it's all kind of somewhat relative. There's one gun that I own, and it has a very specific form of bullet.
Come back anytime.
And
they're called BBs.
They're actually very common. It's a very common caliber, and they're very cheap as well. So last time I went to buy ammunition, they were having a I don't need 1,200 rounds for anything that I can think of, but that's what they sold it to me.
And as we're on the point of what they found in the home, there are some pictures online, and you can actually find a picture of Nancy's bedroom, and there is a pool of blood in the middle of the bed. And a lot of people, a point of controversy is that if she was shot at such close range and with as high power of a rifle that he used, that there would be more blood splatter on the wall.
Right.
Now, the pictures I've seen are so kind of far away from the bed, maybe feet away from the bed where they took it, that you can't really see any blood splatter on the wall. Again, I mean, I am not a forensic expert, so I don't know how it would actually react. Mm-hmm. Or was this picture taken after they collected evidence and then maybe washed the walls? I'm not for sure, but there is a large puddle of blood in the middle of her bed. And then we even talked yesterday, well, where was she laying? Was there a bunch of pillows around her? I mean, who knows? I mean, and would that kind of block some of the splatter?
Well, and when we see these photos, especially in this situation, they don't have to release